the Viltrox 75mm 1.2 lens versus the Nikon 70-200 2.8 lens. Cropped versus full frame. Which lens produces the best bokeh blurred background? One is going to be crowned the Portrait King today. Let's find out. On today's video, we're going to find out that age-old question. Full frame versus cropped. Can a cropped camera really compete with a full frame camera nowadays for background bokeh, sharpness, and all-around use? We're going to find out. What I did was I put the Viltrox 75mm 1.2 lens on my Sony a6700, and then I took my Nikon 70-200 lens and put it on my Nikon Z6, and I went out and shot both lenses, and I shot everything on the Nikon at 200mm and 2.8 because that's the optimum range for portraits to give you the best blurred background. And I shot the Viltrox, well, it's 75mm, it's a prime lens. But the 75mm, if you equal that to full frame, comes out to actually 112mm. So it would be like having a 112mm full frame lens that is a f1.2. That's pretty amazing. So we're going to show the pictures side by side. And I had a lot of fun doing this, and I really found out some interesting things that I didn't realize. I have been shooting with the Nikon for a little bit on my Z6. I've shot some portrait sessions with it, and I found out some things about it on this test that really kind of shocked me. I was really surprised. And with the Viltrox, well, that really surprised me a lot too. So let's get to the photos, and I shot a little bit of video as well, so you can see the bokeh on the video. Let's get right into it. Okay, now we're going to look at our first picture, and wow, look at that. Very close, even the sharpness. The Viltrox versus the Nikon. I think the Viltrox has a little bit smoother of a background to me. And here's the next shot. I like the colors on the Viltrox better, and I like the background bokeh blur area better on the Viltrox. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. And here I'm out shooting a pine cone on a stick, and I got people walking by looking at me like, what's this guy, out of his mind? He's really into shooting that pine cone. Now here's the Nikon 70-200. It's a very heavy lens, large lens. I had to extend the bag, my camera holster down longer. And up close, it's really only about 2 steps back difference to get the same range of focus. And there's the pictures. And once again, I think the Viltrox looks a lot smoother and nicer than the 70-200. What do you think? Looks more creamy. Plush. This is so much more heavier. Very much heavier. Now here I'm standing way far away, and this is how far I have to be able to shoot with the Nikon at 200mm. And now I'm switching to the Viltrox, and I could come in this much closer to get the same framing of the shot. Plus, way on the other side of me is what I'm shooting, which is still quite far away, so this is a lot closer. Big difference here. Hopefully you can see that, how far back I had to go with the 70-200. Am I getting any better background blur by going that far back and shooting a 200mm and 2.8? I don't think so. Okay, now this is what it looks like. Once again, I think the Viltrox looks a little bit more creamier. The Nikon at 200mm at 2.8 is not doing any better at all, that's for darn sure. And here's another shot, and you can see the Viltrox, even the box in the garbage can, is already starting to go into the blurred area of focus. And see how much more creamier it is? To me, this 75mm is going to just replace a 200mm 2.8 type of lens, or like a lot of people would use the 200mm f2 lens. I think this Viltrox could replace that as well. Look at the nice creamy background here. It's definitely more creamy, more soft, and the image quality between the two cameras here, I mean, one is no better than the next as far as sharpness and detail. Here they both look pretty similar as far as the background goes. And this is indoors. If you look at the bag back in the right, the Viltrox side, you can see the letters are much more blurred out, softer, more mellow. Once again, it's producing a better bokeh, better blurred background. Now here, the 200mm almost looks a little bit better here, shooting upwards at these trees. This is the only picture I shot that I think maybe the Nikon looked a little bit better. Here, side by side, they're pretty close. I don't think one is much different than the other. So please like and subscribe to my channel so I can make more videos like this. Let's get on with the rest of the video. Okay, now I'm going to do some photos with my wife helping me out, because I wanted to show an actual real person in the pictures instead of just random objects. So we're going to shoot a little bit of close-up, kind of medium, standing far back so we can fit from head to toe in, both in landscape mode and some in portrait mode. And it's just amazing how far back you have to be with the 70-200, which I have used the 70-200 on the beach for shooting some family group photos. And I had to be so far back that people could no longer hear anything I was saying to me. Luckily, my wife comes with me on jobs, so she could tell the people that, hey, look that way, and all that kind of stuff. But with the 75mm Viltrox, you're a lot closer. You can really, you can stay close enough to where you can communicate with your subject. So anyways, here's some photos of my wife. We just shot this out in our backyard area. We live right by a forest right behind us. And let's take a look. Okay, now this is my wife here. And once again, I really like the Viltrox look here a lot better. It looks more smoother and creamier. Both have similar type of colors. The Nikon has a bit of a green hue, I've noticed, when editing. And once again here, they're pretty similar, but I still would pick the Viltrox myself. What do you guys think? I'm zoomed in a little bit more on the Nikon here, so that gives it a little bit of an advantage, but there really isn't much of an advantage. And look at here, the Viltrox, you can just see right away it's creamier. I'm still zoomed in. Well, this time I'm zoomed in a little bit more on the Viltrox, but to me it's a little bit more creamier, softer. I like that. And here's more of a portrait mode. Looks like the creaminess is a little bit more, once again, on the 75mm Viltrox at 1.2. And same thing here. I had to be so far back with the 70-200. That's why I've got a little bit of a different angle here. There was a fence back there that I had to move to the side of. And here they're both so similar. I still think the Viltrox is a little bit softer, like on the tree in the background. I think the Viltrox pretty much probably matches a 200mm f2
Okay,
lens.
what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put each camera on the tripod here and shoot some video clips with the 70-200 at 2.8 at 200mm and this 75mm 1.2 at 1.2 and see how that works out. And I had to stay, later in the day because I'm shooting at these wide open f-stops. We can't do that during the afternoon unless you have an ND filter, which I have when I was using that earlier on the 1.2 lens for some things. But I have the new Sony A9 III, and I can shoot either one of these lenses out in the brightest part of the day now because of the higher f-stop or higher shutter speeds that it has. So anyways, I'm filming this on a little Pocket 3 camera. I better move out of the road before I get run over. And I love this little camera. One of the features is it has this following feature, so it's following me around. I'm not having an operator back there. It's literally just following me around as I walk around. It's a follow feature of it. So hopefully that's been working out good. I'm by a busy road here, so it's probably a little bit noisy. So let's go to the videos. Okay, now this is the Nikon Z6 with the Nikon 70-200 2.8 lens. I have to say this took a while for me to get this because this lens would not focus on that little part of the branch. I spent about 2 minutes trying to get it to do that. I never could get it to do it. I finally had to go down and shoot at the bottom part of the bush here and then slowly work my way up. The lens just couldn't find this whatsoever. Where the Sony system, it nailed it instantly.
Okay, here's the video of both of them. And once again, I find the Viltrox to be more creamier and smooth and just an overall nice background blurred look. The Nikon's a little busy back there still.
Now, I wanted to show this because once again, this Nikon lens cannot focus on that ivy branch, this stuff hanging down here. It just will not focus on it. It's focusing on the stuff behind it. Maybe if I move it around some and try to get it into, there we go. See, now it's focusing on it because it's in a thicker area, but it's having a hard time keeping the focus. If I move it down to where I wanted to shoot it at, right around in there. Okay, now it's got the focus finally.
Okay, here this is side by side. Looks like I'm a little bit more zoomed in on the Nikon. That's giving it a little bit better background blur actually, but still the Viltrox is no slouch here whatsoever. Either one of them look good for the background blur. A little bit different color look. What do you think?
Okay, I'm having the same exact problem even on this larger post. It's not that small. I cannot get the 75-200 lens to focus. As you can see, pressing the focus button here, it's not going to do it. So I'm going to have to manually try to rock it here and get it to find it. And there it is.
It's kind of crazy the focus problems I'm having with the 70-200. I've used it on the beach, but I'm shooting like large, adults, people for portraits. But even shooting some pictures of smaller, thinner things, I had focusing problems where the Sony A6700 with the Viltrox was just dead on. It snaps right on everything immediately. And here's another. This is actually video. There's nothing going on here, no wind blowing, so you can't really see anything moving, but that's both of them. It's pretty similar there on both of them. Even the colors are not too bad. They're slightly different. So what do you think? Leave a comment. Which one would you pick? So that was my test. What did you think? Did you like the Nikon or the Viltrox better? The Nikon 70-200 produces a little bit better background compression, but not really that much because the Viltrox actually full frame equals like 112. To me, I really liked the look and the creaminess of the Viltrox in all the different ranges that I shot, from the close-ups to the medium range. even to the shots of my wife standing up. So for me, the Viltrox is the new king of the bokeh, beating out a full frame camera and a standard portrait lens that people have been using for years. I'm going to pick the Viltrox and shoot it on my A6700, or I will use it on my new Sony A9 III because I can use it in cropped mode, and I get around a 10 megapixel file size, which is plenty to print any size print that you would sell. I could print a 24 by 36, no problem. We sold hundreds of 24 by 36s from our Nikon D700, which was 12 megapixels with lots of cropping. And a lot of times we shot it in cropped mode, 6 megapixel mode. And back when cameras were 6 megapixels, we were selling 16 by 20s and 20 by 30s. Matter of fact, every wedding we did back then, we included a 16 by 20 framed portrait that was shot on a 6 megapixel camera. So the Viltrox to me is the winner. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? For $550 versus over $2,000, this is the winner. And this is, well, kind of getting old technology these days. Heavy, big, cost a lot, doesn't produce any really better quality images than this. So I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Of course, I'm going to make more videos. I will see you next time.